every season when the summers come, strike, I think the crisis of water gets into the news around. If you want to talk about water in crisis in Bangalore specifically, they are both man-made and natural reasons, I would say. If you look into what Bangalore is glaring at is roughly around 500 MLD of water shortage, which is almost its one-fifth of the total water demand. Now the reasons are, for example, recently in last year the monsoons have been, slightly less in the region. They had received lesser rainfall, roughly around. They had a deficit of around 18%, and that has also led to the reservoirs having low levels, somewhere around 26% of their capacity, and therefore also leading to their current water availability in the range of around 8 point. What they should have is around 8.8, as I'm told, 8.8 BCM to what they have, I think around 6.5 BCM. So obviously they have a deficit in water availability in the reservoirs, in the ground, and a lot of supply of Bangalore water supply basically is from the ground. So all of this contributes to the natural sort of deficit because they have really had a lesser rainfall in the past. I think the least from 2015. And then there are factors of, let's say man-made, which is encroachment of the water bodies, pollution of the natural water bodies like lakes. Bangalore is quite known for. Our increasing and competing demand within the industries, domestic and agri-irrigation sector, and as well as how we have been inefficient in our water usage within the city with high leakage losses and non-revenue water. Mumbai, for example, is around 27 to 38%. Bangalore, for example, around 30%. Delhi is around 40-50%. So these are the kind of sort of combined factors, I would say, both natural and man-made, which are responsible for what Bangalore is facing and possibly other cities as well. Very much. Not just Bangalore, the situation is, I would say, across the country, where, as I mentioned, the inefficient usage, the encroachment of the water bodies, etc., have been there. Look into the adjoining states of Maharashtra, Telangana, even Kerala for that matter. They all are, glaring at the same kind of crisis. And some of the cities like, Delhi, Lucknow, Chennai, and parts of, Punjab, for example, Batinda. All of these are facing similar situations of how we have increased our demands of water, how we have sort of not been efficient into using water resources and polluting them. So I think it's a situation quite across the country. So I would say let's start with the common sense. As a citizen, what should we do? Let's start with our own home. How we are using water, in our bathing, kitchen, brushing, etc., etc. We are still not having a very, efficient usage practice of water in our daily chores, and that's where I would want to, recommend. Let's start with doing, that, using less water, using water efficient fixtures. For example, a sensor-based tap, reduces the water wasted by around 70%. So we can use water-efficient fixtures. But then let's also look into what are the other options. So the conservation measures are very, very important. Rainwater harvesting, groundwater recharge is something that we have to adopt in almost every houses. Some of the cities are really good in doing that, but others need to catch up. We need to also not only treat our wastewater to prevent pollution, but also move towards recycle, reuse, and resources recovery. And especially in the context of, I would say, cities, the resources recovery and the reuse factor has to improve. And within the citizen perspective, I think the grey water reuse is very much a possibility. Every household can actually have grey water reuse done. And then, of course, there are perspective of how we should stop the encroachment of our water bodies. We should have a rejuvenation of natural water bodies and rejuvenation of lakes. Bangalore, for sure, needs to do that. But besides that, I think we also need to have sort of regulatory, let's say reforms wherein we need to control the groundwater over exploitation, for example, and incentive and disincentive mechanisms for promoting efficient use and discouraging wasteful uses, as well as aspects related to, for example, rational water pricing. And I think all of these are very, very important sort of bouquet of intervention, which are very obvious things I think which are needed to be done. And then, of course, there are use of technologies for how we can move towards efficient usage within the system, reduce our non-revenue water or leakage losses within the water supply system as cities, and have better sort of awareness created within the citizen, I would say. So these are some of the I would say bouquet of intervention which can be adopted.